I've always thought that Shirley spent the rest of her life looking for more mothers. There were so few art majors, you see, and we were in the dorm. And they said, you want to meet another art person, so I met her then. And she was in her room. She was a very tiny person. I don't know, she was just small. Her hair was sort of long. She was very devout. She did a lot of Bible study. Started your Bible study at Friday at sundown, and then you went to Sabbath school and church on Saturday. And then I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist town. She was always sick, and then she always would, she was very thin. She got colds, she got this, and she got that. She used to go down in the basement and play the piano, and people said she played very dramatically, tremendous amount of emotional pressure, I think she maintained, quite frankly. Why, I don't know. She told me that she was going downtown and she would be drinking and carousing and at the bars. She would black out sometimes. You're just like you're sitting there. Then you just sit there, but you would be out. She passed out one time in class, and she just passed out like a faint. She would just simply become comatose. Joe Weblemo was the college nurse, and she spent a great deal of time there. Joe Weblemo finally took her down to Omaha, where the family was. She rode all the way down on the train with her. She was not in a position to be able to travel by herself. She realized it was psychological. We used to talk about psychology, but she really understood that there was a psychological component to this. I had a book on Freud. We conceived that most of our problems were related to our parents. She did a great deal of reading in this area. She was very concerned about it. I met Dr. Wilbur. Shirley was going to her at that time. She was sitting on her bed. Must have been our junior year or sophomore, junior year. I forget, it was something I did and she disagreed. She felt I wasn't doing the right thing. And she spoke to me in a little boy's voice. I looked at her and I thought, that's strange, and I left as soon as possible. Her mother was very, very protective. Shirley kind of took over her mother's life. And her mother, when Shirley wanted to go, and when she was in grade school, she told me when she wanted to know what the teachers thought of her, she would send her mother to school to ask. Her mother was white-haired, tall, taller than Shirley, very thin, very nice. She didn't want Shirley to keep rats. Shirley kept rats. I don't know, probably because her mother didn't want them. Her father was more distant. Her mother was so caring of Shirley. As long as she lived, Shirley was okay. It's when she passed away that the father got himself a girlfriend, and Shirley would be literally without money, and the father wouldn't send it. He didn't want to part with the money. And I was finishing my degree, and I simply was not in the position to take care of her. Then when Shirley came to New York, she was sharing an apartment with a woman from the South. And she was very good to Shirley. She was very kind to her. I had to be careful around Shirley at that period in my life because they were looking for somebody to take care of her, Wilbur and Shirley. She told me she was taking care of Dr. Wilbur's mother. Dr. Wilbur was trying to find a place to put Shirley, and I didn't want to be it. Shirley demanded a great deal of care. She didn't have a concept that there was more than one person, you see. For example, she wouldn't have any money, and I was living from pillar to post. So in lending her money, at times it really strapped me. And there was always this kind of need. Well, it would be me doing jobs all the time for her. Oh, getting medicine, getting this, getting that, waiting on her. And part of it was, of course, her father's unwillingness to help her out and to let her go to a level where really, unless somebody would lend her money, she couldn't eat. Shirley had a way of people really taking care of her. Effie Conkling, the head of the art department, did. Dr. Wilbur did. This friend she had in New York did. They took care of her. I never could figure out how she could do it. She called me when she was dying, and we talked and essentially said goodbye. There are children that are raised in overly protective homes, and the security of having mother do your decisions, keep you out of trouble, when you're in problems, take care of them for you, give you support, tell you how wonderful you are. That is a very comforting thing to have.